Hey, thanks for dropping by to the Planners on Purpose podcast, created by Naomi Tucker, CMP. Now, this space is for the event planners to encourage and empower you so that you can fully live your life on purpose. So before we dig in, please take a moment to subscribe so you get future shows. Now, here she comes, your host, Naomi.
Happy New Year. Welcome to season 6 of the podcast. How are you? I hope you're doing well and that the new year is treating you absolutely amazing. And if it isn't, I hope tomorrow you could just flip the page on this day and treat it like a blank slate and make it amazing. Before I get started here, I wanted to introduce myself, especially for those that do not know me. I'm Naomi Tucker. I'm a strategic events consultant, burnout prevention coach, and I empower event planners just like you to stress less, to live more, and lead a life that you love, to drop burnout like a bad habit and bring some calm to your chaos. So I would just like to say welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. And I am sure you had a wonderful time bringing in the new year. Typically, everybody does, whether you're going all out on New Year's Eve, having a party, bringing in the new year big and bold, no holds barred, or perhaps you just stayed at home and were in bed by 10. Regardless of where you are on the spectrum of celebration, the new year is here. It's here. And I just want to ask, are you ready to make it great? I hope you are. Typically, New Year's gives us the opportunity to start fresh and start new. So we see things like a new diet, new plans for your next event, new agendas, initiatives to do for this new year. However, all of the new stuff can really give you resolution burnout. You may be thinking, is resolution burnout really a thing? Well, my friends, I'm afraid that it is because if burnout means that we have a loss of meaning in our work, in addition to any mental, emotional, physical exhaustion as a long-term effect, that means that the type of stress that's going to go unresolved can lead to more stress. And eventually, it's going to deplete you of your energy, which then makes you become more detached and you continue to be more exhausted. So yes, resolution burnout can be a thing, continuing to stress over the resolution that we are making to the point that it's just exhausting and worrying us. In fact, this could be the very reason that over 64% of people abandon their New Year's resolutions within a month. In fact, only 9 to 12% of people keep their resolutions all year long. So if when you think of New Year's resolutions, you just immediately become overwhelmed, you may want to consider these tips and think about your intentional progress in a different way. So the first step is start with the simplest expression of progress. Last year around this time, I knew I really wanted to focus on my health. Actually, I knew I needed to focus on my health, not just the want. I really needed to dig in, to take the time to make myself healthier. Do you get that way sometimes? I mean, you do everything for everybody else. Where do you typically come in? Well, let me tell you, we have to think about ourselves first, because when we do, we fill up our cups and then we can fill up each other's. So for me, I wanted to start, but I did not want an extreme and lofty goal for my health. I just wanted to have one simple goal. And for me, it was just move a little every day. That's it. So that's what I did. I did not want to be overwhelmed with losing a certain amount of pounds in a week or do some crazy diet or look at my end goal in my face every single day. To me, that was extremely overwhelming. I just wanted to be healthier and move more. So what did this look like? Well, for me, it looked like me getting into my workout clothes every day, no matter what, when I woke up. It made it easier for me to move when I did that. And it also meant for me working out at least 15 minutes. So I did have some slight ranges. It has to be at least 15 minutes, and it can be as long as I wanted it to be. No judgment, no shame on myself for whatever I chose during the day. So I could work out for 15 minutes one day and be okay, work out for an hour and a half the next day and feel absolutely great and happy about each of those days. As long as I was moving, that was my goal. And it meant that I wasn't really going to weigh myself and do these very rigid check-ins, because to me, that felt overwhelming and that could bring on other feelings that I did not want to experience. I wanted to be in a great mindset when I was taking on this particular challenge for myself. And I didn't want to care about the scale. I wanted to just care about me moving more, me making healthier choices. So when I started with just that simplest expression of my progress, in my opinion, every day I did a little something, it was progress. And if I didn't, then I would just start again the next day. No worries, no stress. Everyone has a bad day. I'm doing the best I can for the day that I'm given. And surprisingly, I was very consistent, very happy, and did get a really great amount of results. So I ask you, what does the simplest expression of your goal feel like? Now, it's important to make it simple. And to me, when you make things simple, it works. It helps you have something tangible to look at instead of this big, lofty, humongous goal. And it also has been proven that if we look far into the future, although it's good to have a great vision, it can raise your anxiety if you do that. So instead, we should focus on those mini goals, those small steps that matter. While we have big goals or have big objectives, we want to make sure that you create those small steps that are going to lead to that bigger goal, because that's ultimately what you have the most control over. Another way that you can avoid resolution burnout is to pick a word that represents the progress that you want to make. Now, there are a bunch of words that you can use. Motivate, how about bold, progress, purpose. I remember a couple years ago, my word was action, and I love that word. I seriously needed to take action in my life, in my business, and that was my word, and it really helped me through that year. I've also used the word intention in the past too. That's a good one. So what you want to do is pick the one word that's going to do it for you. This year, I've been thinking about my word. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but towards the end of the year, I felt like I wanted to focus more on consistency. In my podcast, I've wanted to build more momentum for myself. Both these things don't come without putting in the work and being consistent. And I was talking to a fellow coach today about a similar thing. So for me, my word for this year is going to be momentum. I love that. And I'm really excited. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that supports me this year, just by focusing on that one word. So what about you? What is your word? Take a few minutes or take the rest of, today and really think about what your word is. And when you get that, write it down, have it in a place that you can see it every day. Maybe perhaps find some type of a wall hanging or some type of a word board that will showcase that word in all of its glory for you, so that you can focus on it every single day and help that inspire your small steps that you need to do. Now, I hope that you pick something that's going to motivate you, inspire you, and get you moving in the right direction, because what you focus on, where your attention goes, your intention is going to flow. It's going to come along for the ride. So please choose wisely. Okay, so my last tip to avoid being in resolution burnout is to focus on the excitement of the small change you want to make. So this means, instead of saying, well, I have to lose this, or I don't like how I did it last year, or I'm not good at this, so I want to do this. This year, perhaps focus on the positive aspect of the change you want to make. So this may mean that you say, I'm excited to eat healthier, Or I can't wait to pick an amazing guitarist for that reception. Or when I go to that conference, it will be great to meet new people. These are type of statements that make you feel good, and they don't necessarily come from a place that's not so good, or they don't make you think about what did not happen. When you focus on something from not the best place, or the fact that something is wrong with you, it's going to set you up for some mental health fogginess that you didn't bet on. So I want you to stick to the outcome that you want to create. Don't dwell on the negative aspect of what you're trying to do. In a similar way, this happened with my book club. I had goals every year for this particular venture. I really did enjoy it, and I enjoyed the time that I had with it, but I had specific goals. And when certain goals didn't pan out, it began to have the opposite effect on me. So I love reading, and I wanted to share that with others and have discussions with others, but it ended up not being how I wanted things to work out. There was a lot of work that had to go into it for my part and how it was set up. So I let it go. I had to let it go. It wasn't even associated with some of my larger goals that I had for my business, other than the fact that I wanted to make these connections with people, which is great to do, but it definitely was getting in the way of what I actually needed to make intentions for my business. So instead of focusing on what I can't do or what did not work out, I had to focus on what I love doing. So when I did let it go, it actually made me feel lighter into the new year. I am feeling so much great going into this new year because I decided I'm still going to do what I love doing. I love to read. I'm still going to read. I'm still going to share my thoughts on some of the things that I read with you. It's going to be so much of an easier structure than what I had in the past. So perhaps that helps you understand that focusing on the positive side of the change that you want to make is really going to be helpful for you, and not necessarily dwell on the negative things like what didn't go well, because sometimes when we dwell there, it can make us not feel as good, and it can be damaging to our mental health. We want to feel good about the changes that we're looking to make. I hope that this was a great episode for you. I hope it was great for you as much as it was for me. I learned a little and was refreshed about how I can narrow my focus. I think everyone needs that reminder. So I hope that these tips on how to help you to not have resolution burnout was definitely something that you can use as you are starting off your new year. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for listening. This is going to be an exciting season 6 of the podcast, and I'm just looking forward to every single bit. So thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the fresh start that the new year presents, and stay on purpose.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button and tell us how much you enjoyed the show by leaving a message in the comments. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.